start here at 7:02. I call the meeting to order. Before we get started, let's introduce everyone in this meeting. I'm Sandy Brock. When I call your name, please confirm that you can hear me by verifying that you are present. Starting with the commissioner, Travis,
I'm here.
Jonathan,
Present.
and Mara.
Present.
Did I actually say it correctly?
You did.
Okay. I will be
You're gonna
challenged.
mess us all up.
I know. I'm sorry. It's not my strength, but
No, you did
I will
great.
I will
Nailed it.
really work. I will work on it. I promise you. And then our other member, Bill Tufts, has not joined us yet. Okay, staff. Leah,
Oh, I'm here.
Jan.
Here.
Very good. All right, let's get this rocking and rolling. So, this open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely via Zoom pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, as most recently extended on March 29th, 2023. Access information for the public has been provided on the town website. This meeting is being recorded. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. This is done on the phone by pressing *6. As chair, I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Please note that you will not have screen sharing privileges, but staff can display any visuals per your cue. During periods of public comment, participants must use their raise hand icon in the Zoom menu bar to indicate they would like to speak. This is done on the phone by pressing *9 and then *6 to unmute when you are called upon. Participants who raise their hand will be recognized one at a time and will be promoted to speak. Finally, each vote taken will be conducted by a roll call vote. As a reminder, the Commission is concerned with state and town wetlands and stormwater regulations. Concerns outside of this purview need to be addressed by the appropriate boards. For example, road conditions must be addressed by the Select Board, and traffic concerns must be addressed with the Planning Board. All right, Leah, where would we like to start?
Right at the top is fine.
Okay. Action items. So it's a minor change. Is anyone here to chat about it, or?
I do believe that's our one attendee.
Okay. Well, all right. So,
Jan, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
okay. Well, this isn't a hearing, so right, this is just a minor
Right.
change request. So
Yeah.
this is all messing me up because I'm not into the routine here because it's a little different. It's action items.
Yeah.
But
Do you want me
okay.
to give a little summary?
Yes, please.
So at 168 Upton Street, which I think it's like a townhouse complex, they're looking to do, Mass Electric is looking to do some work. They were before us with an RDA, I think within the last year, that they need to dig a trench, take down a couple trees, and replace install a conduit. So you can see it right here. This is right off of Upton Street coming into the complex. So we issued a negative determination. We did have a comment from DEP questioning whether the scope could fit under a determination of applicability or if it needed to be kicked to an NOI. After we talked it all through, we felt that it fell under a determination. We gave them a negative with, let's see, we had no more than 3 trees shall be removed, and if more are necessary, the applicant shall return to the commission for discussion and approval. So they've now been out in the field looking to get this project started and determined that they need to take down 8 that are in the way of the trench. 1 is right on the wetland boundary, but it's dead. The rest are within our no disturb. They are proposing to restore the areas when all is said and done. I noted that we should specify what that entails. And I had some thoughts on condition to add if we get to that point.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I definitely have some questions on this. I'm sure others do. Why don't you ask their representative to kind of review it, and then we can ask some questions.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Great. This is Anthony Damiano with GZA. Geoenvironmental. I presented the project last year. It is within a year that we received that determination for Mass Electric. And like Leah mentioned, slight change just based on field conditions and reviewing with the crew that was going to get out there, equipment and all that. So a couple more pieces of information that we received, and that led to proposed removal of closer to 8 or as many as 8 trees instead of that 3 originally proposed. And yep, that was all well delivered. There's only one on the wetland boundary line itself that is dead, kind of leaning already. And there's some photos of those later in this short kind of updated application. But basically the piece of machinery that will need to access that area from the driveway is able to straddle the driveway and put in that trench as proposed in black. And that won't result in any tree removal, but it's really that trench coming out of the proposed pole area in gray there shown, and extending out to the southwest to get to the driveway that's posing the need to remove as many trees as we do need. And that has to do partially because of the root systems that are likely in the way. So to get that 8 number gives us the opportunity to make sure that we don't have to come back and ask for more. So I think the photos would be helpful to kind of round this out if that's possible to show.
They're up the initial overviews up there, and we can go through this. I mean, I know I have a few questions, but just for Amara that this is something, if you're comfortable, please ask questions. They are coming back for basically what's called a minor change. So, you know, if we deem it to be minor, then we can, you know, continue to work on it and come to a resolution, and they can move forward. So there is some history on here, which you weren't familiar when we went for the RDA. So you weren't familiar with the public hearing. So if you don't feel comfortable kind of participating, that's fine. Leah, on a minor change, there's no requirement to have been, you know, part of the initial,
Yeah, I
So,
don't believe so.
yeah, but I'll leave it up to you. You're gonna see, we're just gonna get kind of picky about the size of the trees, the number of trees, those type of things. If you have questions, feel free. But for now, I'll go around to the other commissioners. Travis, any specific questions?
I'm still trying to figure out where the threshold is for a minor change in this situation. Is the location of the trench moving?
That
Oh,
would
yeah.
be
It's still in the same spot.
At least where we're talking for tree removal, it's staying in the same spot, and we're actually shifting it out into the driveway to reduce the disturbance along the edge of the driveway as originally proposed. So there'll be some more removal of asphalt and replacement, of course, for that trench.
Okay.
But there's actually less disturbance with this change.
So the contractors went out there and don't want to dig the trench with trees that close? Is that essentially what happened?
That's right.
And when we look at the map that's in front of us right now, the kind of yellowish light orange, that's where the original route was for the conduit, and now the dashed black is what the actual is going to be.
Correct.
All right.
I mean, I think that, yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're using a trencher or a mini excavator, what's the equipment being used?
Yeah, I think it's a more of a trencher machine. You know, it has to straddle across the road rather than a mini excavator to dig it. I think it's more uniform, and it's actually only a I think it's a 6-inch wide trench. It's not
I
something
guess
huge.
if you're not ripping the roots out, I guess I don't see the reason why we have to cut the trees down. Because if
Oh, the
you,
roots are coming out. I
I
think
mean, you're
that's
going to cut the roots with the trenching machine, but that doesn't necessarily kill the tree, I guess is what I'm getting at.
So I think if Jan, if you could kind of scroll down, because one of my questions is there's a number of photos below, and I was having trouble to figure out where the trees. I think I have an idea, but there's one shot with them kind of circled, and that's why I was curious the size of these trees. And that's one, but I think there's one further down that there's a little circle on it.
yeah, it should be the last page there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why, Travis, that's one of my questions was like, okay, if the first the most outer trees kind of, photo forward, which is probably like an 8-inch on the left and maybe a 6-inch on the right, those were probably the 2 trees. So that's the first question. Were those the trees you were anticipating to have to take down?
Originally,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now what you're doing is saying that when you go to trench it, the trees, kind of just to the left of that circle, I mean, I don't even know what species they are, but they're relatively small diameter trees. And those are the
Right.
trees that you're talking about.
Yeah, as well as that large one on the left where that circle touches.
It looks like an ash tree. Is it dead?
That one, I think it was half, it may have been half dead and certainly leaning, if you see in that bottom photo.
The others look like maple.
The others, I saw mostly red maples, yeah.
And I,
Did
again, I
you-
was just curious. Go ahead, Amira.
I was going to ask, did you have someone come by to assess the trees to determine that it was half dead?
It was based on visual observation on my part with the contractor and as well as the condo association. We all kind of went out and reviewed the area. I believe that was a couple months ago now.
Gotcha. And could you just point out which trees were like the initial 3 trees? Like, was it that kind of little cluster on the left-hand side of the bottom photo? Were those the 3 trees that were initially?
I think it would have been the ones closer to the right, actually. By that row.
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing
Yeah.
you.
You're
Yeah.
cutting out. Can't hear you.
Let's see. Anything now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I believe they were the original 3 were clustered actually to the right of that bottom photo, as well as the photo above it.
Okay.
I think it would have been those 3 kind of in the middle of the circle.
I see.
The one just behind, kind of tough to see. It's the one that's leaning, that one that's on the wetland edge actually that's dead. Those would have been the original 3, but after reassessing with the contractor, there was a concern about the root systems of the other cluster to the left, and in the basis of this minor change.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So I'm still confused. We're looking at the same picture from 2 different perspectives, right? So the shrub
Yes.
is on the right, the shrub is on the far right. You're talking about the tree closest to the shrub, the large tree that's leaning, and then the cluster of stuff in between it that has to go because the trench is coming through the middle of that, or it's just skirting the edge of that. It's really hard to tell from the plan because it looks like you're actually moving the line in the trench into the asphalt to avoid the trees, but we're cutting more trees down, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, so really what happened was and you're all correct with that first part of that. What happened was a miscommunication with the contractor who would actually be doing the work, and I believe the size of the equipment, and the location of the trench. So really, the trench location is basically going right through that. That's the center of that top photo, coming straight through the middle of it. And so there's concern looking at it with that team that would actually be taking out the trees that to put in the trench, that those ones on the left are actually are in the way after all. So there was a miscommunication. That's why we're returning to discuss that.
Could we go back to the diagram that has the
Oh,
line in it?
back up. I'm sorry. So, Bill, you haven't been introduced yet.
Right.
So, and we've already started kind of questioning and stuff.
Yeah.
So if you could just wait till afterwards
Sure,
and then we can,
sure.
okay? Sorry about that, but it's a
Okay.
public hearing and try to just keep it based on who was introduced at the beginning. So, but we can
Okay.
get you on for the next one.
Okay, sorry, I didn't get into the meeting, into Zoom fast enough. I was having
Don't
difficulty.
worry. You'll get used to how to doing it
Yeah.
and get on no problems in the future. So,
Okay.
So Anthony, so the trench line is going to come across from the road through, like straight through the middle of that circle from top right to bottom left. Like where, I don't understand, because there's wetlands beyond it, correct? So it's
trench will not be within the wetland. It'll be extending from a new pole that's actually going to be installed behind that tree on the right.
yes, that's what's confusing to me, is that when you look at the plan view, you can see the pole. Pole isn't in yet. So we have
Right.
no reference to where that pole is to kind of come through there. So Jen, if you could just kind of quickly scroll up to the top plan view. I think what's missing is the fact that, you know, on this plan view, you show that new, what is it, P75-2, and then you just have an arrow showing where the trees are, but you don't see the individual trees. So when you see that photo, it's a little bit hard to decipher where that trench is coming through, because there's no reference of where that new pole is going to go. So I think that's what's leading to our confusion, because based on Jonathan's question, it's like the two larger trees, if you, Jan, can just scroll back down. I think what you're saying is the two larger trees is that they were going to stay, the one on the left that's leaning and the one that's on the right. It was originally going to come right between those two, correct? Or am I wrong on that?
The trench in this exact location where we're looking
Yep.
is staying in the same position pre and post change.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And where's it coming through there?
So it's coming right behind the tree that's in front of the shrub.
Okay.
The pole will be going right behind that tree. And so
Okay.
it would have been, the original 3 would have been that tree there and 2 of the others to the left.
Okay. In the foreground.
Correct.
Is
Okay.
there a
after-
reason the pole has to be so far back off of the road that it's right up against the wetlands and impacting these trees? And why couldn't the pole be close? Is it a safety issue or a snow storage or some other problem that you've got a soft turn into it? I don't know if they're wondering if, or there's a concern about vehicles hitting it, but it does look like it's pretty far off the road and now you're right up against the wetlands and now you're impacting other trees. You'd think that if it moved out 4 or 5 feet, would that completely wipe out this and then you wouldn't have to remove any trees?
I believe it was due to kind of the current alignment along the road. I did raise that question early on in the project to see if they had thought about it, because the pole was originally across the street, but to gain the alignment that they are looking for, you know, around that bend, they they ultimately settle on this position.
Jan, you want to just go up to the plan view again? Just to give, so when we're looking at this, the new pole where it says P 75-2, is that the orange circle or is that the white circle?
It's the white circle.
Okay. And then are you dropping down and then doing underground conduit?
Right, exactly. So that'll connect from the base of that pole and feed right into the small trench
Okay.
and ultimately connect out to the terminus of that black line.
Okay. So I guess to kind of continue on to what Jonathan was saying is since you do a drop down at the pole, I'm not sure why you can't do a drop down on, I don't know, we'll just say Page North on the south side of it, and then have, I mean, typically with the conduits, they're not angled like that, they're curves. Why can't you just kind of come in and curve it to where it comes in and try to avoid those trees?
I think that it would still result in tree removal around that corner. I don't think we're going to be able to avoid that with this position. There may be a possibility to reduce it. I'd have to review with the engineers there. I'm not one of them, unfortunately, on their team.
Yeah.
But we
You typically do not do angles on electric conduit.
right.
So yeah, so it's, I think we're getting, unfortunately kind of the information we're looking at isn't as detailed enough to figure out why all of a sudden you gotta, and I know they're smaller trees, but it's all of a sudden, originally it was kind of, yeah, we'll come in, we'll probably have to leave, we moved two trees and now it's 8. And it's and so I'm just trying to make sure that 8 doesn't turn to 12 or something.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
Or
Based
that
on
we
our
in
review there,
the first place, frankly. I think Sandy's point about coming out the other direction makes perfect sense. As someone that often looks at utility trenches and duck banks and all those fun things, a long sweep coming out of that hole drop makes more sense than going directly
right.
in a hard, you're going to soft sweep those corners because it's copper, right? Or aluminum, depending on what the feeder is. So
Yeah, it depends upon that and whatever. All I know is all the layouts I've done of, miles of conduit and electrical conduit and so forth, whether it's in the city or in a rural area, I always just ask the electrical engineer, give me what your sweeps are, and then we lay it out. So
I do think that if I'm understanding correctly, reorienting the trench directly south of the pole
yep,
would result in removal of that bush, which that shrub shown in the photo there, which I know the condo association wanted to save. They wanted to keep that and the sign undisturbed. I know that was a concern that they voiced just as a note, but hopefully we can kind of find a spot for both.
and I guess one of the things that, you're coming in for a minor change. And as Leah had mentioned at the beginning, DEP questioned whether we should have done, whether this falls under an RDA or not. And now you're doing a minor change. We just want to make sure we're doing our due diligence to make sure that, we shouldn't go to a full notice of intent. And I think with some minor changes, you could probably make this work without having to have this conversation. And I'm sorry if it's going through a sign.
Yeah,
But
understood. Yeah,
yeah,
we're happy to continue to work with you
yeah.
guys and all parties. That's why we returned to coordinate. Absolutely.
So Yeah, so Leah, did you have some other comments that you wanted to kind of go through on this, or was it just this layout, or?
Beyond what I said earlier, I was just gonna suggest that if we were to approve it, we condition what restoring the area looks like
Right.
afterwards.
And that would be no matter what they do.
Yeah.
But so Anthony, I guess my question back to you is, I know this is, this is just a, GIS thing, but I mean, you could go with the GPS out there and kind of figure out where this is and come up with something that reduces it, and then actually put in the sweeps and so forth that they would typically do. I mean, that would be my suggestions. I don't know. I'll leave it up to you if you want us to, have basically a discussion further on if it stays this way, what our next steps are, or if you want to go back to your clients and say, can we get a little bit more specific? And is it possibility to, not to take out all those trees?
Yeah,
And if you do take them out, how are you going to restore it?
mhm,
So,
right. I think so for a plan or major concern or minor concern is trying to stay closer to that 3 tree threshold. Is that what I'm understanding or
yeah, that's already approved. So,
right?
and because of the DEP and their comments asking us, does it really fall under RDA? That's kind of, and giving a negative determination. That's really what we're trying to avoid, to not continue to kind of disturb the areas adjacent to the wetlands.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I'll
and
go. Oh, go ahead,
sorry.
please. I'm sorry. Go ahead and whatever you were going to say.
I was just going to touch on restoration quickly, but
Yep. Go ahead.
certainly restore any of those areas. There's going to be if and when those root balls are removed, using that existing soil and erosion controls will be in place there along the wetland boundary. But if there's something that we can do in addition to patching those up, putting straw and seed down, that's something that we've done in the past. But open to other suggestions there if we're at that point or want to discuss that type of condition.
And then also, indicating that a tree is in poor health. Probably true, but it would be nice to make sure we confirm that. And Leah, did you have a chance to go out and look at this?
I've not.
Okay. So I'll go around to the participating members, commissioners, see if they have any other specific questions. But Travis, anything else to add to this?
Nothing else to add.
Amira, anything to add to it?
Nothing else to add.
Jonathan?
It may be helpful to understand if we did have a 3-tree that was approved, which 3 trees they were, and then just so we can see the difference. If they are still going to say, in order to do this, we need to do 8 trees, we're still requesting a minor change, here's the information. The original 3 that were approved or that were assumed, compared to the additional, and then maybe some caliper sizes or just some approximation would be helpful, just so we can understand it. Because again, if it's a little 2-inch something, it may be a different consideration, depending on what size it is, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with
that's
you.
my
A quick little list of species in
visual,
caliber.
a visual.
Yeah. So,
Nothing else beyond.
okay, great. Leah, anything else to add?
Nope, that's all I have.
Okay. So Anthony, do you have enough from us to kind of, I mean, we also recognize what's going on here. We don't make it a big deal, but we just want to make sure that we follow the requirements. That's all.
Yeah, sure. So I can certainly follow up with, I can basically amend that letter already I provided at
Yep.
the top of this submittal with that list of trees and caliber size, DBH.
Yep.
And I don't know if that would be enough to, you know, at least come back and discuss, or where would you?
Yeah.
Uh,
So, and I'm just guessing. I'm guessing that these wetland flags were located using GPS.
right.
Uh, might be helpful to locate those trees with GPS,
Okay.
just so that we're not looking at a photo and guessing where it is in plan view.
Sure.
The photos are helpful, but without it on the plan, it's a little bit tough to figure out where that line's going.
Okay,
That's all
great.
I have.
Did
Go
we
ahead.
also want confirmation that some of these that the tree that is not doing well is indeed not doing well?
So if it's an ash, it probably has emerald ash borer.
I don't know if Leah, if you have an
That's
opportunity
probably
to
on the
go out
way
and
out.
just, yeah, Leah, if you have an opportunity to go by there,
Sure.
or Dan or someone, just to take a quick look at them.
It's really those two that are leaning at the same angle.
Yep.
Approximately. That I would say are worth confirming, but they're the closer one of the driveway appeared to be not doing great, but still alive, and the one on the wetland boundary was dead.
It's probably be a good idea when you identify the trees, if you indicate their wetland status, whether it's a facultative or fac wet or something, because they might not be doing well because it's an upland tree.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that enough information for you to kind of just kind of add some information so that we can make this determination?
Yeah, I think that all makes sense. I can provide that, and you know, I'm not sure if it would be if you'd like me to come back and discuss those findings and project them on the screen, or just, you know, provide those updates and Leah can confer with you all at the next meeting. Either way works, and we can kind of figure that out.
Yeah, and then as far as, you know, you are the applicant, you can either determine to submit it and so forth, or you can be here to listen to what we say. Obviously,
Okay.
it helps us to have someone answer questions.
Sure.
Okay.
Great. Well,
All
thank you
right.
very much.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you. We'll be in touch. Have a good
All
night.
right. You too.
Bye.
All right, Leah. So let's kind of just go back for a minute. So Bill, welcome.
Thank you.
Sorry that you weren't able to get on right at the start of the public hearing and so forth. So I just didn't want to kind of, you hadn't been introduced and you hadn't been involved in the opening and so forth. So I didn't want to, from just a, you know, minute standpoint and those type of things, you know, Jan takes notes and everything, and we have meeting minutes, so that I just want to make sure everything is done in sequence and so forth. So,
Okay.
so welcome. I don't know if you want to just give us a little kind of background on yourself, and we can introduce ourselves.
Sure.
So first of all, thank you for joining. And if you want to just give a real quick, why'd you
Sure.
join and your kind of background?
Okay, so I am relatively new in town. I just moved to town last summer. I have an educational background in zoology. I have a background in agriculture. I worked at Russell's Garden Center in Wayland for a number of years, where I was in charge of fields and house plants, and also in construction of some of the facilities within the greenhouse. Also, an outdoor enthusiast and hiker. And
Fabulous.
that it just, I guess, sums it up. I have a question if I can ask right here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Those green dots on the peninsula on the left side of the road, what
Yep.
are the significance of those? Are those trees, or is that just there to help define the boundary?
That is exactly, it's a boundary. So those are flags. So someone went out and delineated those wetlands based on criteria. And so the A1 through A10 are basically flags that were located so to show where the limit of the wetlands are. So if you go out there, you would see flags hanging from trees or branches that would indicate, and they would be marked as, everyone has a little different, but it would be A1, A2, A3, so that either staff or commissioners can go out. You can actually follow what the edge of the wetlands are. So that's what those numbers are. So
Thanks. And what is the name of that condo complex that's there?
it's 168 Upton Street. So I don't know, Lee, if you got the name of it.
I don't know the name.
Okay,
I think it's Laurel Hill.
Laurel.
Yes.
Okay,
Laurel
Okay.
Hill.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
And just for a quick introduction, it's a little bit harder because we're virtual and we're not in person. It's much
Right.
easier to do introductions personally. But if we could just go around real quick and just kind of indicate quickly, your background, but also how long you've been on the commission. So I'll start with Travis.
Hey, Bill, welcome. I'm Travis Mast.
Travis.
I'm an environmental scientist. I've got about 20 years of experience in the environmental field. I used to work in the wetland restoration, habitat restoration. I do wetland delineations, that sort of thing in the private sector. That was in the Midwest. Things were a little different there. Here you call it wetland replication. We called it wetland mitigation. But anyway, I'm currently working for a government agency conducting environmental permitting for federal transportation projects. And I have no idea how long I've been on. A year, 10 years? I think like over a year.
Definitely over a year. 2 to 3.
2? I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Oh yeah. So Jonathan.
Bill, again, welcome and thanks for joining. Jonathan Nickerson, been on the commission for 5 years. I started in COVID. Actually, the first meeting that I went to, and I saw Sandy in person and got to meet Sandy in person, which was the last meeting that they had in person. So
You in the audience. Yep.
I shut down Conscom. So I in my life, I'm a chief estimator for a commercial construction company. I specialize in federal work down in Washington, D.C., so some kind of cool projects, but I've always gravitated towards the site side quite a bit. But I manage a team of 7 folks down in D.C. My office is not, whether I'm working at home or I'm working out of my Milford office, but so I've been working in the commercial construction side of the industry for similar to Travis around 20 years ish. So
Great. Amira.
Hi, Bill. I'm
Hi.
Amira Arroyo.
Good, thanks.
I have been, so I am a project manager at a medical software company. So it doesn't have much to do with conservation, but I'm an environmental enthusiast. So that's why I'm here. And I have been a member of the commission for not very long. I think November, maybe end of November or something like that was when I first joined. So I'm also relatively new to the commission, so welcome.
Thank you. I was a IT project manager myself for
nice.
Hewlett Packard till I retired. I'm retired now, so I have lots of time in my hands.
Awesome.
That's good. And just to kind of fill me in, I'm actually a civil engineer. So my work does a lot of things adjacent to wetlands. I've been on the commission, I don't know, Leah, 10 years or something. I don't know.
More than that, because
I
I've
know.
been here 10.
Okay. I've been here for a long time. There's a whole story on how I got on, but we don't need to go into that. I also am part of the MACC, Mass Association of Conservation Commissioners Board of Directors. So there are a kind of a professional group. They do training and other things like that. So it's just, I've been a civil engineer now for probably almost 40 years. And the company I work for now, we just do a lot of site projects. So I'm always doing permitting and things, mostly in other states now, but have for a long time in Massachusetts. And yeah, that's kind of my quick background. So, all right. So welcome. So tonight we don't have any public hearings. So just a quick question. I know Amira is kind of getting used to seeing public hearings, how they're done. I mean, it's a legal process. It's something that we need to make sure that we follow the rules. And if you ever have a question, please ask them, because it's when you go through a public hearing process, we have to have a quorum. There's a process, there's a sequence, and all of that. So if you ever have a question, please ask. Now that you're part of the commission, you'll become automatically a member of MACC, and you can go to and take training. They do webinars at noontime, every so often, on fundamentals, different parts of the wetlands regulations. Their annual conference is coming up March 1st, March 2nd, around the corner. It's in Worcester. There's a whole lot of educational opportunity there. Whether you're just doing a fundamental class and just beginning to understand, whether you're looking, to do wetlands delineation and understand it more, there's a lot out there for you to kind of look at to get a little bit more familiar with the wetlands regulations. So under the state, we have the wetlands regulations, the Wetlands Protection Act and its regulations. For the town, we have a local wetlands bylaw. So you'll hear Leah and Jan talking about different references and about where they're looking at. And every single time that we have a meeting, it is a public hearing. So everything's advertised, everything is posted. We'll get that information ahead of time. You can review all of that. If you have any questions, we're extremely lucky to have the staff we do. Thank God they're here, because I think I would quit if we didn't have the staff we have. So there's a lot of kind of moving parts, but thank you. You're volunteering for this. You'll learn a lot, and don't ever hesitate to ask any questions. As I always say to young engineers, there's no stupid questions. If you don't know something, ask it, because that's the only way you're going to find out about it. So welcome.
Thank you.
And we'll go on to the next action item. Request for certificate of compliance and release bond for 123 and 125 Ferry Street. Leah, I want to give us an update on that.
Sure. So this is Craftsman Village. We pretty recently saw another one of their sets of permits, which was for an infrastructure project they had to do to get ready for the subdivision. This set is for the subdivision itself. It's kind of similar to the last one we were talking about in that it's townhouse style. It's down in South Grafton. But they've finished the project, everything's stable, they have grass growing, they gave us an as-built plan. I had a bit of back and forth with them about a handful of conditions that we needed proof that they were satisfied, but we've worked through all of that, so they're ready to be issued a complete certificate of compliance. We also hold 2 bonds, and so we need to include in the vote to release those bonds.
Okay, sounds good. I will quickly go around the commissioners to find out if anyone has any questions on this. Travis,
I don't have any questions.
Jonathan,
No questions.
Amira,
No questions.
and Bill. And if you have questions on what the procedure is, please ask. It's kind of this is our paperwork. And again, we're very happy that we have our staff. because they are wonderful at doing all this and we don't have to do it. So, but if you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay. I
All
don't
right.
at this point.
Okay, and then we'll be going through a couple votes. If you don't feel comfortable, actually voting at this time, since it's your first time, you
Yep.
can always abstain, and you don't have to give a reason. You can just abstain.
Okay.
So, all right. So this is the fun part of going through all the kind of procedures and making sure we do this correctly. So first of all, so we need to first do Leah, do a motion to release the bonds.
You can combine them into one. It's one motion
Okay.
is fine.
That sounds great. So do I have a motion?
Hang on. Let me get to my notes. I was
Yep.
listening.
Want me to make? I'll make a motion.
Please.
I'll make a motion to issue the certificate of compliance and release the bonds for 123 and 125 Ferry Street, Craftsman Village.
Second.
And do we have a motion and a second? We'll do a roll call vote. Again, feel free to abstain if you don't feel comfortable at this point. So Travis,
I'm a yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Amira,
Yes.
and then Bill.
I abstain.
Thank you very much. I am also a yes. The motion carries and the certificate of compliance is issued along with the release of the bonds. All right, Leah, next up.
All right, we need to skip over meeting minutes. We should have those same 3 and maybe more next time. But we just didn't have time to put the finishing touches on those.
Okay.
After that, we do need to appoint a new rep to the Lake Quinsigamon Commission because Travis hopped over to Open Space and Rec. We have been handling this as kind of like we appoint someone, but they're just like we tag them when we need them. They don't have to regularly go because a lot of what appears on their agenda doesn't always pertain to the little section that's in Grafton. So, I mean, we can continue to handle it that way, but just have kind of like an on-call person, or if someone is just really interested in regularly attending, that's fine too.
So just to give some background, so the Conservation Commission there's 3 other committees that we provide staff, we provide members to. One is the Open Space committee, and then Travis is on that. And then right now, Travis, they're not too active, right? Because they just finished the update.
We have been meeting actually.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have a member on CPC, Community Preservation Committee, which enforces the Community Preservation Act. I actually sit on that, and that's a regular meeting. That's actually a pretty fun board to be on, since they get to do some fun things and have money to like do parks and buy land for conservation and do historic type of restoration. And the third one that we provide a member to is the Lake Quinsigamon Committee, and basically that's a committee that oversees Lake Quinsigamon. A small portion of the lake is in Grafton. The more important part is the lake drains into Grafton. So whenever they have invasives or anything else, it all goes downstream to us. So we do have a member on that committee itself. And so Travis was kind of the standby person, as Leah already said. Those committees, those committee meetings, they talk a lot about life around Lake Quinsigamon, like people speeding in boats and other things. They also do things like invasive aquatic plant removal. They're doing things around water quality and different things. So that's where we participate. And so to what Leah was talking about is that what we do want is just to have someone assigned to it, so that if they need to go to a meeting, we can do that. But that would only be when it's needed. So in this is for everyone on the committee. If anyone wants to, take on the Lake Quinsigamon committee, we'd be more than happy, and we'd be happy to kind of do it at the ad hoc type of thing, is go when you need to go. And both Travis and Jonathan have been on that committee previously, if you have questions for them. So, any interest from anyone?
I
have
will
some-
add to Sandy's point just real quick because I spent a year-ish. I don't remember how long I was on that. But if you have interest in what's going on the lake in terms of there's a lot of rowing, there's a lot of they talk about the use of the lake, what's the stormwater that's going into the lake, the algae blooms. They talk a lot about the science of it, but also there is a lot of talk of the police activity and all the different things that are going on to police the people. So it does serve a great purpose, but like Sandy pointed out, everything drains to us. So I was more interested in kind of what's going into the lake up there and what's working its way out. But they meet in person as well at Shrewsbury Town Hall or whatever. Sorry, Bill, I cut you off.
Yeah, I'd be interested in looking into that, especially if could point me to some information, some documentation or literature that would help me get up to speed on the issues there and what's been done in the past.
Okay, I think that Leah could, definitely help you out on that because we probably have minutes and could get minutes of meetings and agendas and things like that. And then obviously Jonathan could give you a little bit background when he was on it and so forth. So that's great. Again, it's great to have staff because they'll take care of this and I don't have to think about it again. So anything else, Leah? You're on mute.
Sorry, we do just need a motion to appoint Bill.
All right. Unless, Amira, that you really want to do this.
I don't
No,
want to
it's
steal your
okay.
thunder.
No.
Okay.
That sounds good.
All right. And then in that case, do I have a motion?
I'll move to appoint Bill to the Lake Quinsigamon Committee. Appoint? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Roll call vote. Amira,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
I am also a yes. And I literally call people's name off based on where you are on my Zoom layout here. So there is no rhyme or reason to that. All right. So that's taken care of. Up next.
So in Dropbox, you'll see our contribution to the town's annual report. It was due last Friday, so I've already handed it in, but I figured you guys would still want to see it. It summarizes everything we did in 2024, and great job, everybody.
Yep. I got I read through it, so I don't have any comments. I don't know if anyone else have any comments or questions on that. And basically this goes into the town warrant, right? The town report. Town report.
Town report, they might hand it out at town meeting.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's an electronic version on the website.
Yep. So it's just information for, town residents on what, each one of the different committees or commissions or whatever do a report that goes into the town report. So does anyone else have any comments or questions on?
I thought it looked good. I didn't have any comments though.
Surprisingly, our numbers of permitting projects went down, but as we all know, they were very massive projects.
This past year was probably some of the longest meetings I've been involved with. And it was because it wasn't the number of projects being or permits being submitted. It was that when you do a warehouse that is just massive for UPS, there's a lot of work that goes into that. So there was quite a few of those very large projects. So we spent some time.
I wasn't on any of those meetings, but I watched one or two of
Oh,
them.
did you?
and
Yeah.
I got kind of scared. Oh my God. These guys meeting
That's unusual.
3 hours
Those
every
were
night.
no, that's unusual. That's not tonight is a quick night, but usually 1 or 2, and they're not usually, huge projects. Those were some big projects. And yeah. So Then we'll
I
get to
have,
go through construction and everything. Yes.
I have hopefully a quick question. It
Yep.
was just about the use of the word minor for the project that we talked about earlier. I guess I just was trying to like w- how is something determined to be minor?
That's our job. However,
Okay.
there is guidance in the regulations and
Okay.
so forth. And that's one thing where we get all of the notice of intents or the request for determinations that come in. They actually go through DEP and they ask questions and so forth. So again, it depends upon the type of project. So if you were doing I'll just use the one that we went. So tonight we talked about putting a pole in for utilities, and if you look in the regulations, there's a lot of exceptions for utilities and that type of infrastructure.
Gotcha.
And then also think about the size of the pole and how much impacts it has. Compared to that, say there was a house right there and you wanted to be 2 feet away from the wetlands with a deck or something. So that has a different impact. So it is actually the responsibility of the applicant to demonstrate why it is a minor activity versus not. And then we have to make that final determination if it is or not.
Okay.
And it's not always an easy determination because, the projects that are big and they really have impacts, that has to go ahead. If when we're talking minor and everyone can have a different opinion, say you do, let's just use an example of another utility project where you do a utility crossing through a wetlands, right? So you're disturbing the wetlands, but once it's restored, then hopefully it goes back. I mean, so that would definitely need a notice of intent, but then you get into what's the final state. So there's a lot of different aspects of it, but it's a good question to ask because it's not always clear.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that it is fine to have different opinions. And you don't always have to, agree with everyone else. If you don't think something should be done because you think there is an impact and you kind of state it and you state why, doesn't always we don't have to have everyone say yes. And
Right.
there's always going to be a project that comes up that definitely there's kind of different opinions. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just wondering because it wasn't clear to me whether minor was like a legal term, like or if it was kind of like a
it's a
opinion,
regulatory.
like
It's
a
a
regulatory. Yeah.
regulatory,
Okay.
but it's an opinion. It's based in it's based in what Mass DEP says. It's based what's in the regulations,
Right.
and it's based in case law too.
Okay.
So, but when it gets to the whole case law stuff, then we ask for help because we're not
Okay.
attorneys. I'm not an attorney. I'm not making any, and we have town council to help us on those things. So, but good
Perfect. All right.
question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yep.
Can I actually add something there?
Certainly.
So when folks propose a change they need to make to their project, there are 3 levels at which we can accept and approve it. So if we find that it isn't small enough to call it minor and just take a vote as an action item, we can have them do an amended notice of intent. And then we would issue an amended order of conditions. If it's even greater than just amending their order of conditions, we can bump them all the way to a full new notice of intent if it was a big enough change with sizable impacts.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you.
It'll take a while and going through a lot of meetings because these don't always come up. And yeah, it doesn't matter how long I've been doing these, there's always something new. There's always something different. So we're all continuing to learn here. So, all right, Leah, anything else?
I just have a couple reminders. One is for everybody. You should have gotten an automated email from one of the state offices that your conflict of interest training is due. There are 2 pieces to that. One, we we all have to do every year, which is sign an acknowledgement of a summary PDF of the conflict of interest law. So everyone does that every year, and that is likely what's listed at the bottom of your automated email. The other piece that you only have to do every other year is the like hour-long video training that everyone loves. That might be due for you this year, and it might not be listed at the bottom of your email. It was due for me. It was not listed at the bottom of the email because when you log in, that part's not due till like the end of April, I think it was. So they're not really flagging it in the email just yet. But just so you all know, it's at least the acknowledgement form, if not the hour-long video training, which I'm sure is due for Bill and Amira, because if you haven't done it yet, this would be your first year, and then you'd be in the rotation. When everyone does that through the state's website, it like generates your like certificate of completion and all that. And I believe the town clerk can see all of that on the back end, so we don't have to collect those from you guys anymore. If you want to forward them to us, that's fine. We'll keep them on record, but it should all kind of be an automated process by now. So if anyone has any questions about that, let me or Jan know. My other,
Wait, do you know who the email would come from? Because I don't think I've gotten anything.
let me look.
I got mine a couple times, ignored it the first time, and then I emailed Leah today because I realized it wasn't just going to go away magically. So
Yeah, I don't think I got it. Do you
I have
remember
to-
who it was from?
I'm
It's-
sure it's in my clutter or something.
So the actual email address is noreply@skillburst.com, and the subject is
Oh, it went to
Massachusetts Conflict of Interest Law Training, your certificate of completion.
Wow.
yeah, that got sucked up in my yeah.
Yeah, it says important reminder to complete conflict of interest, and then it's got a link. The normal or the yearly one took seconds to view and read and then click. The other one I did today, and it took an hour and 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, you
And there's some-
have to let it play. You can't do anything
Yeah.
else.
It does a lot of repetition, unfortunately. But maybe I'll remember it when
Yeah.
someone's off bribes or something.
I
Um,
actually I'm always surprised because I don't think they go far enough. As someone an engineer that have to follow certain ethics, I think they're a little light on conflict of interest and stuff. But that's my own opinion. So, but it's what the law is, so we have to kind of follow that. So, okay, I will look that up.
Okay.
Any other joyous news that you have for us there?
I just have a couple reminders specifically for you, Sandy. I got 2 invoices to you for the park that need
Yep,
approval.
I saw that. Yeah.
And then we got the baseline report for the 2 Robinson lots that were
Yep.
most recently acquired. That one, I think you do need to come in person to sign because it needs to be notarized. So
Oh, thank you, because I know that yeah, it got sent to me, but I wasn't sure. So it has to
Yeah.
be notarized.
yeah,
You
So,
guys only work till noon on Friday, right?
1.
Till 1? Okay.
Yep.
I'll put it on my calendar
Okay.
because I'm home on Fridays. So
Okay. There's always the wonderful late Tuesday. We're here till 7.
no, that's okay.
That's all
All
I
right.
have.
All right. And again, if you have questions, please ask. Happy to answer the ones I know, or at least find out the ones that I don't know, or have Leah answer it. Other than that, we only have one motion left.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Right. We have a motion to adjourn in a second. Roll call vote. Jonathan,
Yes.
Amira,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
I am also a yes. The motion carries.